Hello. I just got my copy of ISOM One in the mail today. No thanks to the post office where I live being closed on Saturdays in the afternoon, and of course it got delivered pretty much in the middle of the day. Alright, so I did like this comic, but I'd like to go through it not in depth because I'm nowhere near that good, but certainly more in depth than I just would if I didn't write down my thoughts and take some time to expound on them. Well, first, I'd like to go about me since, and if anyone knows me, they know me from more than 10 years ago at this point. I've not read very many comics. I've read the Dan Slott She-Hulk run and the Flintstones comic. The one where people think is woke, but honestly, I think it's just a hopeful message for humanity since no one ends up being a truly bad person at the end of it. I guess it's pretty good work since you can get all sorts of things out of it. Anyway, I'm doing my best to be spoiler free or spoiler light in this because I think everyone should read this. I don't care personally how you read it. If you borrow it from a friend, you buy it. Heck, even steal it if you like. It might be really good for you. If you see it on 4chan or Reddit or whatever, give it a read. It's not going to hurt you. So, what I didn't like. And this is probably the biggest flaw in the whole thing. Issue 1 had a lot of ground to cover because it's setting up a world. Because even though, I know, Marvel takes place in New York, usually, and DC takes place in places like where we live. But this comic had to set up not only a supervillain, but also a regular villain, the organization that deals with supervillain incursions, and what Avery, the main character, is doing with his life. I feel like it's not to the point where it actually harms the story, but if they had to explain a couple more things, I feel like it would just slow down to the point where you wouldn't be able to enjoy it. Alright, so on to what I like. Humans can be reasonably expected to exist in this setting. Supers fit into this setting rather than existing as gods. If we look at DC and Marvel, for example, Superman, the Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, probably a few others I'm not really remembering, could unmake the world with relatively little effort or meaningful opposition. Injustice, anyone? I don't know if any of you have seen the Multiverse of Madness. I haven't seen it personally, but I have seen the reviews. The Scarlet Witch could just destroy this entire world, and I don't care if you have a nuclear missile, you ain't stopping her. She's just going to freaking turn it into a spaghetti bomb as it comes down. You're done. Alright, on from that. There are reasonable reactions to the supers, and even though not all of them are obvious, people can still make reasonable guesses to figure out if someone on the lower end of the power scale is a superhero. Partway through, a child actually figures out that Avery has super strength. Another thing is the emphasis on family and community. It may seem kind of silly, but the reason why the main character gets caught up in the plot is because he gets called to help out, and his mother would be mad at him if he didn't help out the woman who called upon him. It's a human motivation as far as I'm concerned. I know other heroes have human motivations, but it's such a little thing to drag a guy out of his isolated from the city life into a city where he left voluntarily quite a while ago. What else do I like? The fact that there is both a supervillain and a normal villain, which, again, emphasizes that the world isn't controlled by supers. More importantly, the normal villain has a supervillain working for him. Well, not a supervillain, because a supervillain wouldn't really work for a normal guy, but he's an empowered person. They call them exceps in the book, but I guess I should just say it is nice to see a world where it isn't just if you're superhuman, you're going to be the boss, and if you're not superhuman, you're going to be cowering in the mud. The main character Also has at least one flaw that I've seen. I would say two now that I've had time to think about it while I'm giving this whole review. But the first one is his pride. When he's being disrespected by the normal villain, he gets angry. He's so angry that when he comes back, he's almost more focused on that than why he came to talk to the villain in the first place. But another part of his problem is that I feel almost like he was running from where he came from being a superhero. And that's kind of understandable because, oh boy, getting beat up in the city, getting shot by who knows anybody. He's not on the higher end of the power scale, which is actually another thing I really like. He is very strong, and when he is able to fight on fair terms, he's more powerful than the guy than the super powered bouncer working for the bad guy. But he gets beat twice. Once, not on fair terms, and another, well, he's fighting someone stronger than him. I do hope you check this out so you can actually see it. But a big deal with that is that he has to be clever. He has to think and approach things on fair terms. It's just like you can't imagine Superman actually being undone by skullduggery. Like, sure, Lex Luthor could, I don't know, make it illegal to be Superman or shoot him in the back with a kryptonite bullet, but what if Superman just hears him coming? Or what if Superman just dresses up as a regular guy when it's illegal to be Superman? Lex Luthor ain't got shit on that. I do really like Lex Luthor, though, so please don't mistake me for shit-talking DC or Marvel. I like a lot of their ideas. I just think they're badly executed. And I do have to admit a bias. I like street-level superheroes. One of my favorite things is superheroes that I could imagine could logically exist on the Earth I live on. Like Spider-Man. Spider-Man could do it, though. I think at some points he gets extended to a point where even he's like Batman in just how overpowered he gets made out to be. Because you know how Batman gets made out to be like so smart he could think of something 20 steps in advance when he started he was just a guy. And, well, depending on your point of view, possibly even based in the Shadow. But, that's a rant for another time. I'd just like to move on to my conclusion before I bloat out this video by rambling like a fool. I hope to see more of the Rippaverse, and I think the following issues, since they have this setting grounded, could do a lot better work. Because this is like, I'd say this is an 8 or a 7 out of 10. This is good. This will get you to your college graduation, and you're going to get a job with that degree. But I think issues 2, 3, and 4, if they carry on in this spirit, they're going to get you your master's, your doctorate. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this. Hope you have a great day.